Listen, you never know. You can't write off Crawford, but I think Canelo will knock him out. I think easier said than done. I've not been in the position myself, so this is just kind of guesstimating. But I think if I was in there with Canelo, I would have just had it out with him, man. Go out on your shield.
The boxing world is buzzing with anticipation as two of the best pound-for-pound fighters prepare to clash Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford. But this isn't just hype at a matchup that's inspired serious debate among boxing insiders, legends, and current champions. Is Crawford biting off more than he can chew? Can Canelo handle the slick switch-hitting style of Bud? In this video, we'll break down what the pros had to say. From Stephen A. Smith to Anthony Joshua, here's a chronological look at 18 expert takes that can help you predict how this mega fight will unfold. Stephen A. Smith wastes no time expressing concern over Crawford jumping up 3 full weight classes to face Canelo. He points out that moving up 21 pounds is a monumental leap, one that Jamal Charlo already proved was no walk in park. Smith sees this not just as an uphill battle, but as a potential misstep. His tone is less about doubting Crawford's skill and more about acknowledging the physical dangers that come with fighting someone naturally bigger and stronger. The subtext is clear. Talent alone might not be enough here.
Let me tell you what I think should be gone. The notion that Terence Bud Crawford should move up 3 weight classes and 21 pounds to fight Canelo Alvarez. He's entirely too small. Jamal Charlo already proved that.
Smith continues his point with metaphor pulled straight from the Rocky films, emphasizing that just because a fighter has heart doesn't mean the outcome will change. He sees Crawford's desire as admirable, but perhaps misguided. Smith suggests that even if Crawford gives his all, sometimes the size and style of the opponent are simply insurmountable. He even compares the scenario to Apollo Creed's downfall proof that being skilled and determined may not overcome a mismatch. His prediction? It's not about ability, it's about knowing when to walk away.
Y'all remember that scene from Rocky? Remember that scene from Rocky 2? When Carl Weathers was Apollo Creed and his trainer was like, can I be honest? I saw you beat this man within an inch of his life. And he kept coming. He wouldn't go away. He's wrong for us, baby. He's wrong. Let it go. Apollo couldn't do it and lost fight number 2. Trained him for Rocky 3 and then got killed in Rocky 4 by Drago because he couldn't let it go.
Hamza Shiraz offers a fighter's insight, saying that when you're in there with someone like Canelo, the instinct is to either survive or fight fire with fire. He believes that if it were him, he'd choose to go out on his shield. That tells us something key. The mental approach to facing Canelo can shape the whole fight. If Crawford chooses to box cautiously, he may get labeled as negative. If he presses forward recklessly, he risks walking into a knockout. It's a psychological dilemma as much as a physical one. Continuing his breakdown, Shiraz talks about mindset. He believed that fighters who come in with a defensive posture, those who move around the ring too much, already show signs of doubt. To beat someone like Canelo, he argues you need to be aggressive and smart simultaneously, like Bivol was. Shiraz implies that if Crawford adopts a purely evasive game plan, he won't win. Instead, Bud needs to control the pace, apply intelligent pressure, and avoid the pitfall of appearing passive, something that costs past Canelo opponents dearly.
I think easier said than done. I've not been in the position myself, so this is just kind of guesstimating. But I think if I was in there with Canelo, I would have just had it out with him, man. Go out on your shield.
Shiraz finally gives a prediction, and it's direct. He picks Canelo to win by knockout, and he doesn't base that on skill but on weight. He thinks the sheer physical leap from 154 to 168 is simply too much for Crawford to overcome, even if he's arguably the more complete fighter. Shiraz's point reinforces a recurring theme in these predictions. There's a limit to how far technical skill can take you when physicality starts to dominate the conversation.
You can already tell once they start moving around the ring, they've got the negative mindset because they know, we know, when you're fighting a champion like Canelo, you have to dominate. You have to do what Bivol done to him. And you have to be very, very smart in the way you do it, but aggressive as well. You can't be negative because it ain't going to work.
Despite his KO prediction, Shiraz isn't fully writing off Crawford. He acknowledges that boxing is unpredictable and that Crawford's greatness means anything can happen. This slight hedge is important, reflects the universal respect Bud commands even from those betting against him. Shiraz is basically saying, look, Canelo's likely to win, but with Crawford, nothing is certain. That's the wild card element Crawford's fight IQ, will, and adaptability always leave room for surprises.
Listen, you never know. You can't write off Crawford, but I think Canelo will knock him out.
Oscar de la Hoya brings a different flavor to the debate frustration. He criticizes Canelo's choice of past opponents, particularly fighters with Cuban styles known for being elusive. De la Hoya believes fans want more action, not tap-and-run chess matches. His comments suggest that fights against pure boxers like Crawford could fall flat if both men don't engage. While this doesn't directly predict a winner, it sets expectations. De la Hoya wants fireworks, not footwork, and he's challenging both fighters to make it a war.
Canelo. Jesus Lord. Come on. You're getting paid all this money to fight against a runner who we all knew was going to run. A Cuban style. You chose him. And now you say you hate fighting runners? Well then, don't fight runners. We all know who we want to see you win against. That's Benavidez. Go up against Benavidez. Fight Benavidez, he won't run.
Staying on the topic of boxing culture, De La Hoya laments the trend of chasing money over legacy. He suggests that today's stars, including Canelo, may be more focused on safe bets than risky, legacy-defining fights. It's a subtle dig, perhaps implying that if Canelo sees Crawford as an easier payday due to size, he's part of that culture. For De La Hoya, real greatness comes from risk, and he's hinting that if both men truly want to cement their legacies, they'll have to fight like it matters.
But it's sad. It really is. You know, it starts from the top, too. I mean, when you're fighting for the money and not legacy, every young fighter just follows that pattern. And it's not.
Eventually, De La Hoya circles back with cautious optimism. He's excited for the fight, despite his earlier criticisms. He acknowledges both fighters' age and experience, but remains hopeful it will deliver. His biggest request? That both men show up and fight. It's less a technical critique and more fans' plea. He knows the potential is there for an epic showdown, but only if both men come to win, not just survive. In his eyes, this isn't just about who wins, it's about how they fight.
I'm frustrated. But, hey, we got Crawford, Canelo. I'm looking forward to it. Even though they're both almost 40, I'm looking for it. Because it's a good matchup. But just show up and fight, please. Show up and fight.
Froch jumps in with a tone of respect for Canelo. He outlines Canelo's legendary resume, acknowledging his losses, but highlighting his fearlessness. Froch notes that Canelo has done it all, fought elite competition across divisions, and emerged with his reputation intact. This sets up Froch's later thoughts. If Canelo is taking this fight, it's not because he needs to prove anything. Instead, it's likely because he sees something he can exploit. Froch's framing makes you wonder, does Canelo view Crawford as a real threat or an opportunity?
I mean, I can't blame Canelo Alvarez for getting in there. Canelo Alvarez got nothing to prove. He's done everything in the game. He's fought everybody. He's been beaten, okay, a couple of times. Lost to Floyd Mayweather. He's got a loss to Bivol. But he is one of the best to do it. Over 60-odd fights.
Froch dives deeper into the size issue. He believes Crawford simply isn't big enough to hang with someone like Canelo. Froch acknowledges that Crawford can bulk up and add weight, but reminds us that Canelo has already fought and beaten legit light heavyweights like Sergey Kovalev. Froch's point is simple. No matter how skilled Crawford is, the gap in natural size and experience at higher weights could be the deciding factor. It's not about heart or hunger, it's about mass, power, and durability over 12 hard rounds.
It's a fight that I'm expecting to be very good. I think it's going to be tough for Crawford. He's not big enough, I don't think. He's just not got that size. Don't get me wrong, he'll stack some pounds on and he'll grow. He's obviously bigger than his fight weight, but Canelo Alvarez has been up at light heavyweight. I know he's been up at light heavyweight. He beat Kovalev, and then he's dropped back down now to super middle because he's probably not big enough for light heavyweight. Lost to Bivol, and he's probably realised actually that's probably a step too far. But Terence.
Continuing with his analysis, Froch walks us through the history of welterweights jumping weight classes. He admits that Crawford is arguably top 3 pound for pound, maybe even number 1, but that doesn't make him immune to physics. Fighters have tried to leap divisions before and struggled. Froch respects Crawford's brilliance, but questions whether even elite skill can overcome the biological reality of fighting a super middleweight who's used to banging with heavier hitters. Froch admires the ambition, but sees the challenge as borderline insurmountable.
Crawford, was he 147 pound, one of the best to do it in the business. But to come up, we know what it's like when people come up from welterweight and try and succeed a couple of weight divisions above their weight. It's tough, it's difficult, but I don't know. Crawford's one of the best. He's just a phenomenal fighter, pound for pound, top 3. Some people got him as their pound for pound best in the world.
Froch gives a telling insight by referencing a conversation with Alexander Usyk, who labeled Crawford as the best fighter in the world today. Coming from a pound-for-pound king like Usyk, that's massive praise. It proves the level of respect Crawford commands in boxing circles. Froch may question Crawford's chances in this particular matchup, but even he acknowledges that if someone like Usyk sees you as the best, then your skill level is clearly elite. This adds complexity. Even doubters admit Crawford is special.
Crawford, was he 147 pound, one of the best to do it in the business. But to come up, we know what it's like when people come up from welterweight and try and succeed a couple of weight divisions above their weight. It's tough, it's difficult, but I don't know. Crawford's one of the best. He's just a phenomenal fighter, pound for pound, top 3. Some people got him as their pound for pound best in the world.
Anthony Joshua enters the discussion with a technical take on the weight setup. He expresses relief that there's no rehydration clause. He wants a clean, fair fight. AJ also reminds us why weight classes exist, to protect fighters and keep things balanced. Still, he leaves room for skill to shine through, saying that if both are talented enough, the weight gap may not be as significant. He respects Crawford's desire to prove himself, but his tone suggests caution rather than outright belief in an upset.
Usyk, I had a chat with him last week, and he's got Terence Crawford as, spoiler alert by the way, got Terence Crawford as his number 1 fighter, because that's how good he is. Someone like Usyk looks up to Crawford and says, you know what, this is the guy that's the best to do it. But anyway, that fight got announced. It's in Vegas. That's one I'm really looking forward to. I'll probably be out there for that one. And
AJ reflects on the Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr. fight to illustrate how crucial weight can be. He saw firsthand how difficult it is for fighters to move around weight divisions and still perform at their best. He believes Bud has a point to prove and thinks that motivation might be the secret weapon. He seems to admire Crawford's mindset, suggesting that raw determination could level the playing field a bit. But even AJ stops short of a clear prediction. He knows this one's hard to call.
Yeah, I wasn't too keen on the catchweight stuff. I feel like there's no rehydration clause, is there? No, so that would be good. And then I feel like Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. showed us that weight is good. Like, there are weight categories for a reason, but you know, providing they're both skilled and talented, there's not much difference in weight. It's just who wants to win.
AJ continues with a note of concern, recalling Crawford's recent fight against Israel Madrimov. He didn't see the same sharpness we expect from Bud. Whether it was rust, complacency, or just an off night, it made AJ question whether Crawford is at his absolute best. He admits there's another side to Crawford 1 that could shock the world, but from what he's seen lately, he's not totally convinced. AJ's take? Let's call it a 50-50. He sees greatness, but also sees potential vulnerability.
And watching that fight, Conor Benn and Chris Eubank just showcased that weight is, it's all about that. You know, so I'm looking forward to the Crawford and Canelo fight, because I feel like Bud wants to prove a point. Do you know what I mean? So it'll be a good fight.
AJ breaks down the stylistic matchup. Canelo's patient, high guard, counter-punching approach versus Crawford's switch-hitting, reactive, chessboard style. It's a fascinating contrast. AJ notes that Canelo gives away early rounds to study his opponent, while Crawford thrives on counters and angles. He believes this dynamic could lead to a tense, tactical battle early on. But it also means whoever adapts faster could seize control. AJ doesn't take a side, but his analysis makes one thing clear. This won't just be a slugfest. It'll be a test of boxing IQ.
Canelo comes in high guard, very patient, will give a round or two away at the start to kind of figure out his range and practice his defense skills. He doesn't really throw jabs to control the fight. He throws jabs to enter into range to throw body shots and hooks. You know, Crawford, switch hitter, uses his jab, counter punch as well. It's going to make it interesting. You've got a counter punch with someone who's good at defending, so I fight 50-50.
So what do the experts really think? The overwhelming consensus is respect both Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford are considered pound-for-pound elites. But respect doesn't equal belief. Most experts cite weight, size, and experience at higher levels as major concerns for Crawford. Still, no one fully counts him out. His talent, ring IQ, and hunger make this fight more than just a fantasy. It's a potential classic. Whether it's the weight jump or the will to shock the world, one thing's for sure. This is a legacy fight. Who do you think wins? Canelo's power and experience or Crawford's precision and brilliance? Let us know your prediction in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a fight breakdown right here on Boxy Hub, your corner for expert boxing insights.